The world these days is a noisy one. Everywhere you turn, everyone's talking, shouting, and struggling to get noticed. It's like everyone's acting for everyone else, constantly attempting to impress, constantly attempting to be the loudest voice in the room. Amidst all that noise, it's difficult to hear yourself think. You forget what you really want because you're too busy observing what others are doing. When you walk away, you're not escaping. You're taking a step back so that you can concentrate. Taking a step back means creating space where you want no one else's voice to be heard. Just yours. It's a choice to cease living according to the world's expectation of you and begin creating the life you were born to live. It's not hiding. It's preparing. The same way a warrior gets his sword ready before war. You take a step back so that you can come back stronger. To be a force that cannot be halted, you have to first drop the crowd. You require solitude. You require silence. You require time to think hard and construct without observation or criticism. Real strength does not develop in public. It develops in secret. The individuals who return unstoppable are the ones who practiced in secrecy. Most individuals are terrified to be alone. They are afraid of silence. They seek comfort and keep themselves near noise because it distracts them from their own vulnerability. But the thing is, noise conceals your potential. When you vanish, everything you have been trying to ignore will surface. The doubts, the fears, the regrets. But they are not your enemies. They are your teachers. They reveal to you what needs to be changed. They indicate where your actual work starts. Vanishing is about fully owning your life. No more waiting for the right moment. No more looking around to see what everyone else is doing. No more seeking approval or permission. You decide. You take action. You shine. The world will tell you to remain visible, to remain connected, to remain part of the masses. But those legends, they're the first to go away. They vanish and come back sharper, stronger, and more driven than ever. So if you want to transform your life, begin by stepping back. Refuse the noise. Refuse the constant performing. Move into the silence and confront yourself. Establish your power in stillness. Become the type of individual who does not need to be viewed in order to feel strong. When you ultimately resurface, the world won't know you. You won't need to justify. You'll enter the room, and the space will tell. Before you can be unstoppable, you must first be invisible. If you're ready to become somebody different, you're going to have to leave the old you behind. Not gradually, not incrementally. You're going to have to burn it to the ground. The guy you used to be, the one who made excuses, who quit too early, who settled for less than he wanted. That guy can't ride with you. He must be left behind. If you continue holding on to your old habits, your old ways of thinking, your old ways of being, then nothing at all will really change. Burning the old identity requires a final and absolute choice. There is no turning back. No safety net. No plan B. This isn't a game. This is war. The instant you create room for the old life, it will drag you back like an anchor. But when you burn the bridge behind you, when you leave no exit strategy, you have to keep moving. You give yourself no option but to rise. You hear people say they want change, but most don't. They don't want to give up what they have. They don't want to take the risk for the reward. But real change happens when you come to the realization that you will never go back. You cease from running away from the person you once were, and instead confront him head on. You tell him, "That was me, but not anymore." And you begin to behave like the man you wish to become, even if it feels awkward or strange initially. This type of change doesn't occur by accident. It requires fire. It requires a type of hunger that cannot be imitated. You must be ready to burn your comfort, your old reasons, and all that made you weak. You must cease lying to yourself with maybe someday, or I'll do it again sometime. You step in completely, or you don't step in all. Burning the old self also includes that you cease blaming others. You cease expecting someone to come and save you. No one is coming. This is your life. Your job. Any weak version of you that used to doubt, delay, or rely on others has to be eliminated. He was handy at first. Perhaps he kept you alive. But now he's the hindrance. Now, he's why you're stuck. By burning the old identity, you create room for something better. You clear the ground so that something greater may emerge. It's like destroying an old house so you may construct a fortress. You don't repair the cracks. You destroy it brick by brick and begin anew. You don't have to be perfect to start. You simply have to be willing to relinquish who you used to be. The habits, the fear, the laziness, the doubts. Burn them all. And then move forward without fear and without fallback. This is the way true transformation starts. You become unstoppable as soon as you choose that there is no other way. Only forward. Only fire. Only rise. If you want to change your life, you must commit. Not for a week or a day. For 90 days. This is not about experimenting with something different for a short time. This is about locking in and not letting go until you are someone different. 90 days sounds easy, but it isn't. It will push every aspect of you. Your focus, your patience, your strength. But if you're able to stand firm for 90 days, you won't be the same individual on the other side. The reason this number is significant is that real change doesn't happen overnight. You can't change years of wandering in a matter of days. You can't develop strength, discipline, and clarity over a weekend. But if you are there every day for 3 months, no excuses, you will create a new foundation. Your mind will shift. Your body will feel different. Your decisions will begin to align with who you want to be, not who you once were. During this time, you must remove the option to quit. There can be no breaks, no deals with yourself, no excuses. You make the promise once, and then you follow through whether you feel like it or not. Some days will be hard. Some days you will want to stop. But those days are the most important. When you push through those challenges, you prove to yourself that you are no longer led by feelings. You are led by purpose. You will feel strong the first week. You will feel high and energized. Then, as days go by, that energy will dissipate. Doubt will creep in. You will begin to hear in your mind that voice that whispers, "Why do you do this? Just miss one day. No one will notice." But that voice is not your friend. That voice is from the weaker you. The you that you're looking to leave behind. The beauty of the 90-day lock-in is that it forces you to trust structure rather than moods. You establish a rhythm to the day. You perform the same critical tasks every day, no matter how easy or difficult they are. No matter if the sun is shining or the rain is pouring. You start to trust yourself because you don't make choices based on how you feel. You simply do what you've set out to do. You execute the plan. As the weeks turn into days, something starts to change. You move differently. You talk differently with more power. You wake up with more passion. Your routines start to propel you. What was hard at the beginning is now routine. What drained you before now energizes you. And by day 90, you look in the mirror and hardly recognize the man looking back. Not because he's utterly different looking, but because of the way he holds himself. He knows that he kept his promise. He knows that he earned his power. And nobody can take that away from him. If you are going to rise, you need to know what rising is. Most people never grow up because they never sit down to determine who they wish to become. They drift through life without a purpose, acting upon whatever occurs around them. They live on autopilot without intent, and they wait for things to improve without a plan. But if you desire something higher, you have to pick it. You need to set a new standard for yourself. One that dictates how you live each and every day. This new standard is not what you know you should do according to other people. It's not governed by what your friends or your family deem is good enough. It's about the truth that resides within you. It's about who you know you can be if you quit messing around, if you quit holding back, if you finally took yourself seriously. You already have a vision of that man in your head. The man who wakes up with purpose, who moves with strength, who leads with calm. Your task now is to make him real. In order to do that, you need to get clear. You must write it out. Who is this new version of you? What time does he wake up? What does he do with his mornings? How does he train his body? How does he think? What does he allow into his life? And what does he keep out? What choices does he make when no one is watching? This is not just a dream. This is a blueprint. You are constructing a new existence, piece by piece, and each decision you make either complements that blueprint or explodes it. A man without a standard falls into anything. He gobbles up what is convenient. He speaks before he thinks. He violates promises to himself. But a man with a definite standard stands firm. He knows what he will and won't tolerate, from himself first and from others second. He doesn't have to yell it. He embodies it. And when you embody that kind of clarity, your days no longer feel wasted. You start moving with power. You start generating momentum. Each small victory piles on the last one. And next thing you know, you're no longer wondering what to do. You're living it. This has nothing to do with being perfect. You will still have tough days. You will still mess up. But your standard will keep you grounded. It becomes your compass when you are lost. It reminds you of the person you declared you were going to become. And when you actually create it, it gets easier to say no to anything that divides you, and yes to what unites you. So take your time. Be honest with yourself. Who are you finished being? And who are you becoming now? Write it. Say it. Act it out day by day, until it becomes your new normal. From this point forward, you don't live by chance. You live by choice. You don't live in the crowd. You live by the code. That is how you rise. That is how you become unstoppable. Silence is an incredible strength. In a world with so much noise and so much talking, the man who goes quiet becomes lethal. When you no longer explain yourself, when you no longer attempt to be seen or heard, you start to build something profound. You start to grow in ways that people can't observe, yet they will sense it when you come back. Going dark doesn't mean abandoning the crowd. It means that you are walking away from it. Not because you are weak, but because you are becoming strong. Most people are afraid of silence. They believe that if they are not visible, they will be forgotten. They believe that if they are not audible, they will fall behind. But this is a myth. The strongest men in history did not grow in the limelight. They grew in the shadows. They practiced when no one applauded them. They labored while others were seeking attention. They employed silence to hone their minds, toughen their bodies, and construct their mission. When you go dark, you give yourself the gift of focus. You no longer squander your energy trying to impress others. You stop going for quick wins and start developing long-term strength. You learn to sit with your thoughts, to listen to your inner voice, to confront your doubts rather than avoid them. That's where real change starts. Not in front of others, but in deep places within yourself, far away from noise and distraction. Going dark also serves to defend your energy. The world will attempt to draw you 100 different ways. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone needs your time. But not everyone is worth it. When you go dark, you cease to give your energy to things that are not important. You cease to justify your every action. You cease to attempt to prove yourself. You allow your actions to speak for themselves, and you keep your plans to yourself. In this field of quiet, your imagination flourishes. Your mind clarifies. You start to fix problems differently. You start to dream larger, not out of expectation of what others will think, but because you have opened the space to listen to your own voice. You see that most of your boundaries were never there at all. They were just white noise from the outside environment. Being dark doesn't equate to shutting people off forever. It is taking a step back enough to come back stronger. It is allowing yourself space to build in peace. So when you do come back, you have this different kind of power. A power that is silent. A power that doesn't require attention to be real. When people see you, they won't understand what made the difference, but they will sense it. They'll notice it in the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you move. All great men must go before they emerge. The work that is done in the quiet is what makes the man who comes out in the forefront. Don't be afraid of the quiet then. Walk into it. Utilize it. Let it mold you. And when you come back, don't justify. Just appear different. Let your presence say the things your lips never need to. That is the strength of going dark. Your brain has become accustomed to continuous pleasure. As soon as you feel the slightest bit bored, You grab something to fill the gap. You don't even realize it's occurring. You experience a slight discomfort, and your brain seeks an escape in an instant. This makes you weak over time. You condition yourself not to challenge, not to be still, not to feel anything that isn't comfortable or enjoyable. That's the trap. And the only escape is to reclaim control. There's a chemical in your brain that makes you a reward seeker. If you take sweet food, it rewards you. If you receive praise or accolades, it rewards you. When you go the easy way, it pays off. Your brain becomes accustomed to this payoff over time. It begins to crave it more frequently. And when you don't receive it, you get antsy. You get exhausted. You feel like something's missing, and nothing is amiss. This is where the detox starts. Not with a pill. Not with a downloaded plan somewhere. It starts with a choice. To break the habit of feeding the craving for immediate reward, you need to let yourself get bored once more. You need to let yourself feel awkward, feel restless, sit silently without grabbing escape. Initially, this will be difficult. Your mind will resist. It will alert you that something is amiss. It will attempt to propel you back into your previous habits. But this is not pain. This is healing. As you detox, your mind starts to shift. Gradually, it begins to appreciate simple pleasures again. A peaceful walk, a breath of air, a tough exercise, a tidy room, a good novel, a thing well done. These might not provide you with an immediate high, but they construct something much, much stronger. True satisfaction. You start to feel lucid. You start to feel here. You cease to pursue the next thing and begin to live in this moment. The detox also assists you in rediscovering your motivation. When your mind is saturated with instant gratification, your intrinsic hunger is lost. You cease pursuing greatness because ease is preferable. But when you take away the constant rewards, your inner fire reappears. You begin to experience an intense desire to move, to create, to develop. You are attracted to your purpose. Not driven by obligation or force, but pulled by intention. This is not living without joy. This is living real joy. It's learning to tell the difference between good for a moment and good for a lifetime. When you feel that switch, you'll never be the same. The artificial highs will taste hollow. The shallow rewards will feel shallow. You'll hunger for something more, and you'll know how to get it. To reset your brain is to reset your life. When you reclaim control of your attention, you reclaim control of your power. The man who no longer craves constant pleasure is liberated. He's concentrated. He's uncluttered. And he becomes unstoppable. That is the power of a real detox. Not a break. Not a pause. A reset. One that brings noise to silence, chaos to calm, and weakness to strength. In order to be unstoppable, you have to construct your life on sound pillars. These pillars are not constructed of talent, luck, or money. They are constructed of plain, yet powerful, habits that you do each day. Similarly, a building requires solid pillars in order to remain firm in the tempests. You require solid habits in order to remain firm in adversity. There are 4 core areas that you have to excel in. Your mind, your body, your mission, and your stillness. Your mind is where it all starts. If your thoughts are poor, then your actions will be poor. In order to make your mind stronger, you have to give it the proper input. Daily, you set a time aside to sit with your thoughts, write what you're feeling, think about your day, and pick up something new. This isn't just about learning. It's about conditioning your mind to concentrate, to be keen, and to become stronger with the passing of time. A powerful mind can lead you even when your feelings are shouting and the direction is uncertain. Your body is your motor. If your body is weak, your energy will be low. If your energy is low, your flame will die. You must condition your body daily. It doesn't matter how much or how high-tech. It matters that you move, that you perspire, that you challenge yourself to become stronger. When you condition your body with discipline, you also condition your mind to remain constant. Your physical strength is a reminder. You can take more than you believe. You can continue even when it gets tough. Your mission is your purpose. It's the work that is most important. Each day, you need to carve out time for this work. Not only the superficial tasks, but the deep work, the kind that requires your undivided attention. This is where progress is achieved, where skills are honed, where dreams get started. If you don't prioritize your mission, your days will be consumed by noise and distraction. But when you guard this time, even for a little while every day, you start to make progress with true strength. Quietness is underrated, but it is equally vital. In a busy world, the man who can sit quietly possesses a quiet strength. Quietness is not idleness. It is where your thoughts come to rest, where your mind clears, and where your mind sharpens. You don't need hours of it. Even just a moment of quiet each day can shift your thinking and your emotions. It clarifies your decision-making, soothes your nerves, and reminds you who you are under all the noise. When you construct your life on these four foundations, mind, body, mission, and stillness, you become solid. You don't go up and down on emotions. You don't crumble under pressure. You stand firm. Every day, you become a little stronger. Every day, you become a little sharper. And eventually, you become a man who can't be easily moved. That is what it means to be unstoppable. Not loud, not perfect, but solid, steady, and built to last. Your environment influences you more than you realize. The house you call home, the office where you work, and the sights you behold every day. They all send signals to your brain. They either propel you or hinder you. Most individuals don't even realize it. They reside in cluttered environments filled with sounds and litter, and they wonder why they feel stagnant, fatigued, or preoccupied. But once you take control of your space, everything begins to shift. Your space isn't just a backdrop. It's a part of your system. To become stronger, sharper, and more concentrated, your environment needs to facilitate that outcome. When you step into a room and it's messy, your mind will be messy as well. But when you step into a space that is tidy, and designed with intention, your mind does the same. It's simpler to think, simpler to move, simpler to take action. Begin by decluttering what you don't require. Too many people have too much. Old clothes, useless things, papers, and distractions. It all makes noise. It all drains energy. Even when you don't realize it, your brain notices it. A tidy space generates tranquility. A minimalist space generates concentration. By removing the excess, you allow space for what really matters. Once you declutter the extras, hone the space. What that does is put things in place. If you are trying to train your body, have your equipment in place. If you are trying to build your mission, have your workspace in place. Don't let it happen accidentally. Get your space in such a way that it speaks to the man you are creating. When you enter the room, it should remind you of your journey. It should challenge you to do something, not to get comfortable. Comfort is where the majority of individuals land. They decorate their environment to rest, to feel secure, to ease out. But you are not here to ease out. You are here to develop. That implies you have to be in an environment that pushes you. One that every day reminds you that you are in a fight. Not against people, but against your past, your weakness, and your excuses. It does not imply that your space needs to be empty or cold. It implies that it has to be deliberate. Everything in the space must have a purpose. Nothing can be there by chance. By creating your surroundings this way, you create a weapon. You remain sharp. You assist your objectives. You eliminate temptation in advance. You no longer use willpower alone. You create a space that draws you in the right direction. Even tiny things count. A tidy table. A designated spot for your tools. A peaceful corner to think. These tiny decisions add up. They become habits. And those habits become you. He who masters his space masters his direction. He does not wait to be ready. He readies himself whenever he enters the room. He does not require reminders. The room reminds him. The room's energy propels him. And eventually, his surroundings are a silent collaborator in his victory. Not boisterous, not showy, just forceful, consistent, and ever prepared for battle. Everyone discusses goals. They make huge aspirations and promise themselves they will arrive someday. They put it in writing, say it out loud, and envision the outcome. But in a matter of days or weeks, they lose steam. They no longer show up. The goal remains the same, but not the individual. That is why goals in isolation are insufficient. What you want is a system, a daily routine that propels you forward regardless of how you feel. A goal is a destination. A system is the direction. Goals provide direction, but systems provide motion. You can't achieve a goal by hoping. You achieve it by creating habits that draw you closer day by day. You don't need to focus on how far away you are. You just stick to the system. Brick by brick, step by step, you build strength. You move closer. And one day, without even realizing it, you're there. Systems take away the need for motivation. Motivation is like the wind. Is here gone. It's here sometimes, gone other times. If you rely on it, your progress will always go up and down. But with a system, you keep moving even when you don't feel like it anymore. You don't say, "Do I feel like doing it today?" You already know what you have to do. You just do it. That's the magic of routine. The best systems are simple. They don't need to be perfect. They just need to work. A good system fits into your day and becomes part of your life. You train at the same time. You reflect at the same time. You eat, rest, and work with rhythm. The more consistent your system is, the easier it becomes. At first, it might feel forced, but over time, it becomes natural. Like breathing, like walking. It becomes who you are. When you keep only goals in mind, you pursue results. You hurry, you compare, and you become frustrated when you don't see immediate results. But when you pay attention to your system, you fall in love with the process. You begin not thinking, "When am I going to get there?" but thinking, "How can I do today better than yesterday?" That tiny tweak in mindset is where growth starts. Building a system also gives you something strong to fall back on when life gets hard. There will be days when things don't go as planned. There will be times when your mind wants to give up. But if your system is strong, it carries you. You don't break. You bend and keep moving. That's the difference between those who stop and those who rise. So then ask yourself, what are you doing every day? What rhythm do you follow when no one is watching? If your days are filled with guesswork, you will stay stuck. But if you build a system, a way of living that supports your mission, you create steady progress. You don't need to chase greatness. You become it. The systems building man isn't expecting results. He is creating the type of life where success is the only result. Quiet, steady, relentless. That's the path forward. If you want to transform your life without any change, you have to transform the way you perceive yourself. Everything that you do begins with who you believe you are. If you perceive yourself as weak, you will perform weak. If you perceive yourself as strong, you will perform strong. The way you hold yourself, the decisions you make, the thoughts you feed yourself, all of them begin with your identity. That is why you must anchor it. You must decide who you are becoming and hold that decision with everything you've got. You don't wait when you're ready. You don't wait until others see it too. You begin now. You say it before it feels real. You do it before it feels natural. In the beginning, it will feel awkward. You'll feel like you're faking. But you're not faking. You're conditioning. You're conditioning your mind and body to be the man you've decided to become. Each day, you remind yourself of this new character. Not with fantasy, but with action. You say, I am the man who shows up, regardless of how I feel. Then you show up. You say, I am the man who keeps his word. Then you keep it. You say, I am the man who does the hard thing first. Then you do it. These are not words. They are commands. They are your new programming. The more you live this code, the more powerful it grows. Every time you do follow through, you believe it more. Every time you break old habits, you move deeper into your new self. With time, the old you loses its hold. He becomes a shadow. And the new you, constructed in action, not words, replaces him. You no longer need motivation. You no longer need approval. You move with quiet strength, because you know who you are. Anchoring your identity also involves severing your connection with the man you once were. You cease to make space for his habits, his doubts, and his excuses. You don't utter, "I'm trying to change." You utter, "I've changed." You don't utter, "I hope to be better." You utter, "This is who I am now." You cease to live in between. You cease to maintain one foot in your former life. You step in fully. There will be times when you want to slide back. Old thoughts will whisper, "You can't continue like this. You're the same." But you don't hear them. You voice louder. You tell yourself, "That is no longer me." You remember the way you've gone, and you continue to go. You don't have to be perfect. You only have to be clear. You are no longer the man who waits. You are the builder. You are not the man who shuns the mirror. You are the man who stands in front of it. Identity isn't something you're born with. It's something you decide, and something you accrue through daily action. Ground it deep. Live it loud. Make your choices reflect your vision. And in the passage of time, you will not merely believe it. You will be it. That's the source of real change. That's how strong men are made. They lose most times not due to a lack of strength, but because they continuously negotiate with themselves. They resolve to change, but then they allow their emotions to dictate what they do. One day they are strong and get the work done. The next day they are tired and do not do it. And so this is a pattern over time that disempowers them. They no longer trust themselves. They begin questioning whether they can ever be consistent. But there is one rule that can turn everything around. No negotiation. No negotiation means the decision is already made. You don't wake up each day and wonder what you'll do. You already know. You've already decided. You follow through, no matter what. Rain or shine. Tired or rested. Motivated or not. It doesn't matter how you feel. The plan is the plan. The standard is the standard. This is a simple rule, but it is strong. It makes your word law. It takes away the space for weakness. It ends the constant thinking in your mind that seeks the shortcut. When you take away the decision, you take away the struggle. You stop questioning things like, "Do I feel like it?" Or "Can I skip today?" And start living with all-in commitment. Initially, your brain will fight. It will attempt to resist. It will introduce excuses, old ways, and sweet deceptions. It will whisper, "Just this once." It will whisper, "You've done enough." But that's when you grow. That's the test. If you push past that voice, if you do rather than think, you train yourself to lead. You train yourself to be strong, regardless. The fact is that great men are not necessarily more talented or more fortunate. They are simply more consistent. They are the ones who kept showing up. Not only when it was easy, not only when they were strong, but when it was hard, when it was quiet, when no one was watching. That takes a certain kind of strength. The kind that only comes when you stop negotiating with weakness. This principle also provides you with freedom. It appears to be strict at first, yet it really simplifies your life. You do not waste energy figuring out what to do anymore. You no longer wrestle with yourself in the morning. You live with rhythm, with system, with purpose. Your actions start flowing. And that flow generates progress. That progress generates belief. That belief produces unstoppable drive. You don't have to do it all. You just have to do what's most important. Every day, you select a few important actions. You commit them, and then you live them out with no space for questioning. It becomes part of your being. Not something you attempt, but something you do. No negotiation is where average meets its demise. It is where true change starts. You are now a man of action, a man of discipline, a man who acts with purpose, not permission. And over time, that discipline shapes a life few others can equal. Not because it was easy, but because you made a promise and honored it, day in and day out. Most individuals believe something is amiss when they sense pressure, pain, or uncertainty. They think that if it feels difficult, they should leave things alone. They say to themselves, "Perhaps this is not meant for me," Or perhaps I must take a break. But the reality is the opposite. When you sense resistance, it is only because you are on the right path. Resistance is not a stop sign. It is a signal. It informs you that expansion is imminent. Your comfort zone is a fence. Inside the fence, everything's comfortable and known. You know how things go. You know what to do. But you also remain small. You remain the same. Growth exists outside the fence. And the instant you attempt to move outside it, resistance appears. You're tired, uncertain, and even fearful. But that sensation is not a warning. It's evidence that you're moving towards something bigger. Picture lugging around a heavy load. The initial time, your muscles tremble. It is too much, you think. But the more you lift, the stronger your muscles become. They stabilize, become stronger, more robust. Your brain is the same. When you are under pressure and persevere, your mind sharpens. You learn to concentrate. You learn to push on. You emerge as someone who doesn't flee from adversity. You rise to meet it. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the process. It means something is shifting inside you. It means your old boundaries are being shattered. When you notice it, lean into it. Don't retreat. Remain with it. Breathe through it. Allow it to do its work. The fire isn't there to incinerate you. It's there to forge you. There will be times when you need to give up. Your body will hurt. Your mind will tell you to doubt. You will question whether or not you're wasting your time. But if you stand your ground in those times, you will notice something incredible. You will understand that the resistance is only temporary. It builds like a wave, but it also recedes. And when it does, you discover strength on the other side. Every time you struggle through opposition, you become more than you were before. You develop confidence in yourself. You develop confidence not from winning easily, but from difficult victories. That is a confidence that can't be purchased. It can't be manufactured. It only comes by putting in the work when every fiber of your being wants to quit. Some individuals spend their entire lives trying to avoid pain. They flee from anything that is difficult. And in doing so, they remain the same. They never develop. But you are not them. You are beginning to recognize resistance as a guide. You are beginning to understand that discomfort is an entrance. Behind it is power, clarity, and greatness. So when it gets tough, smile. You are exactly where you're meant to be. Let the pain sharpen you. Let the pressure shape you. Don't escape it, embrace it. This is the work. This is the way. Resistance is not a reason to quit. It is the reason to continue. Once you decide to transform your life, it will not be a smooth ride. You will encounter walls. They are not stone, but trust me, they feel very real. They will challenge your patience, your concentration, and your resilience. All men who opt for growth will run into them. These are not signals to quit. They are indicators that something big is occurring. When you know what to anticipate, you can confront every wall with courage. The initial wall typically appears during the first week. In the early stages, you remain strong and full of energy. You wake up feeling energetic. You think nothing can defeat you. However, at day 7 or 10, things begin to change. The energy diminishes. Your body becomes fatigued. Your mind begins to doubt the course. You feel like giving up. This is the crash. It's the point where the old you rebels. Your comfort begins to beckon. But when you power through this first wall, something incredible occurs. Your body adapts. Your mind quiets. The crash subsides. You push through it tougher. The second wall hits at day 30. This wall is subtle. It's not boisterous. It's silent. It doesn't strike you with hurt. It strikes you with tedium. The days begin to become monotonous. The new routines you created start to seem stale. You may ask, is this actually getting it done? You might find yourself feeling agitated. This is the wall of boredom. More people quit here, not out of weariness, but due to missing the rush. But this is the truth. Actual growth isn't thrilling each day. It is constructed by consistent, repeated action. If you continue to show up behind this wall, you start creating something much stronger than thrills. You create discipline. The third wall appears on about day 60. Your body's stronger by now. Your routine is consistent. You've gotten past the crash and the boredom. But now the wall is thicker. This is the wall of self-doubt. Even after all your progress, your old thoughts might return. You might begin to hear the voice in your head that says, "Are you changing? Is this who you are? Or are you faking it?" This is the wall of the breakthrough. It is like an ultimate test. If you pass it, you don't just act like a new man. You begin to believe it. Each of the 3 walls has a lesson. The first teaches you to persevere when the body is weak. The second teaches you to remain firm when the mind is agitated. The third teaches you to have faith when doubt comes back. If you are aware that the walls are approaching, you will not be surprised. You will meet them with courage, not fear. These walls are not against you. They are on the way. They are put there to mold you, to challenge you, to see who you are becoming. If you move forward, if you will not be deterred, you will not simply make it through the walls. You will be the man who breaks through them. That is the path forward. That is how true change occurs. Most of us depend on motivation to accomplish things. You wait to be ready. You wait for energy or the perfect moment. Motivation, though, is ephemeral. Some days you have it, and some days you don't. If you rely on it, you'll never start and stop. That's why you need something more powerful. You need rituals, simple daily habits that occur regardless of how you're feeling. A ritual is not something routine. It means something. It's a habit that you follow every day with intention. It becomes part of your identity. You don't consciously think about it. You don't debate with yourself. You just do it. And the ritual, over time, creates strength within you. It becomes your rhythm. It becomes your foundation. If you start your day with powerful rituals, everything else falls into place. Rituals impose order on your life. If the world is chaotic and your mind is too, your rituals provide something constant. They remind you of who you are. They remind you of what's important. Even if everything else in your life is chaotic, your rituals are always the same. That makes you strong. That makes you focused. Consider how you begin your day. If you wake up late, the rest of your day will just be obeying it. But if you wake up with purpose and do morning activities every time, you own the day. Maybe you stretch, move your body, sit in silence, or write down your thoughts. These seem like small steps, but they create your mood. They gear your mind for the task of the day. They enable you to start with strength rather than panic. Rituals also enable you to create momentum. If you can begin with strength, it's easier to maintain momentum. One solid decision leads to another. You move with purpose. You make quality decisions. You feel less pressure because you've already mapped the way. Even if the rest of the day is difficult, you've already accomplished what matters most. That gives you confidence. That gives you belief. Over time, your rituals will transform your identity. You no longer view yourself as a person who tries. You view yourself as a person who shows up. You don't need to prove it to others. You embody it. Your actions speak louder than any words. Others may notice something about you. They won't know what shifted, but they'll sense your power. And you'll know it was born from the quiet discipline of your daily rituals. The secret is to make them simple and repeatable. You don't need an extensive list. You only need a few powerful actions that you do consistently every day without question. These are your anchor. They stabilize you when life is noisy. They propel you when your energy is depleted. Ultimately, it's not motivation that transforms your life. It's what you do when motivation disappears. Rituals are the key. They cause you to continue moving forward when all else tells you to stop. They keep reminding you that greatness is not accomplished in huge doses of energy, but in the soft, consistent beat of a man who arrives each day. That is where true power is created. In order for you to grow strong, you cannot carry everything. There are things in your life today that weaken you. They are tiny, but they rob you of your focus, energy, and fire. You yourself may not even know how much they hurt you because you have become accustomed to them. But if you're serious about becoming the man you were meant to be, You have to let them go. You have to cut what weakens you. This does not imply that you must abandon these things entirely. But seasonally, as you construct yourself, they must go. You are at war. You are restructuring your body, your mind, and your routines. Every ounce of energy counts. Every second is a second to live. You cannot spare to waste your strength on distractions, temptations, and chatter. At times, what holds you back is what you rely on to escape. It could be comfort. It could be gossip. It could be meaningless chat that goes nowhere. It could be staying up late for no reason whatsoever. These things can be harmless, yet they wear down your edge over time. They dull your concentration. They undermine your hunger. They make you lose the feeling of being sharp over time. Other times, what holds you back are people, complaining people, fear-mongering people, people who mock growth and are content with mediocre. You don't have to hate them. You don't have to fight. But you need space. You need room. Not because you're superior to them, but because you're creating something they might not get. You need to guard your energy like a warrior guards his flame in the rain. Cutting what makes you weak requires honesty. You need to examine your life and ask tough questions. What makes me better? What makes me worse? What habits improve me? What habits worsen me? You don't have to be ashamed. You don't have to be perfect. But you do need to be honest. If something will make your body weaker, your concentration weaker, or your discipline weaker, it has to go. At first, you'll feel the loss. You'll feel restless. You'll wonder what to do with the extra time. But that space isn't empty. It's an open door. Space for new strength to grow. Space for stillness. Space to build new habits that make you faster, sharper, and more alive. This is not punishment. This is power. You are not cutting these things because you despise yourself. You are cutting them because you do respect yourself. Because you do know you're stronger than you are being right now. Because you know there's a greater flame within you. And it can only blaze when you cease to feed your weakness. So clear the path. Cut the noise. Release the things that drain you. This is not forever, but it is for now. This is the season where you rise. And in order to rise, you have to travel light. Not everyone will get it. Not everything will go with you. But that's how it's meant to be. That is how men are made strong. Not by what they add, but by what they are willing to release. If you are to grow, you have to be truthful to yourself. Not occasionally. Not just when the times are good. Each and every day. You can't fix what you don't measure. You can't transform what you don't confront. That's why tracking your steps is one of the strongest things you can do. If you don't measure it, it's simple to forget. It's simple to deceive yourself. But when you measure everything, you bring the truth to the light. Most people believe they are doing a better job than they really are. They proclaim they are eating clean, training hard, staying sharp. But when you ask them to demonstrate evidence, they have nothing. It's not because they are slackers. It's because they are guessing. They are attempting to recall rather than track. Memory, however, is unreliable. Emotion interferes. A bad day can make you think that you've blown it for the week when you've been doing great. A good day can make you feel like you deserve a break when you've been off your game. This is where tracking becomes your mirror. When you're tracking your actions, you're getting clear. You don't pay attention to how you feel anymore. You pay attention to facts. Did you train today? Did you stick with your plan? Did you come with discipline? If so, mark that. If not, mark that as well. This isn't about shame. It's about awareness. When you see the truth, you can change. When you hide from it, you remain stuck. Tracking momentum too. Every time you place a win, it feels like a small win. You begin piling up wins day after day. You glance at your list and observe evidence of progress. This creates confidence. It indicates to you that your work counts. Even though the outcome hasn't arrived yet, the pattern is being set. And when you continue to show up, the outcome always arrives. It also allows you to catch patterns early. Perhaps you realize that every Thursday you skip your workout, or every weekend you slack on your habits. Now you can make adjustments. You can prepare for the weak spots before they derail you. You can plug the hole before it sinks the ship. Tracking puts you in charge. It makes your routines a scoreboard. It makes your progress tangible. And when you see where you are, you know what you need to do next. No guessing. No drifting. Just straightforward, consistent motion. Keep it simple. Use a notebook, a calendar, or a wall chart. Just make it noticeable. Keep it handy. See it daily. Let it remind you that what you do matters. That every decision counts. That each day is part of the story you are writing. If you forget a day, mark it. If you do it wrong, write it down. You're not aiming to be perfect. You're aiming to be honest. When you can hear the truth, you can build with power. Measure everything or it didn't happen. That's the rule. That's the standard. And when you adhere to it, your progress is no longer a dream. It is a reality. That is how champions are created. Not by chance, but by clarity, discipline, and fact. When you start out, you are creating a new life, step by step. The days are slow. The effort is laborious. You are transforming the way you think, the way you move, the way you behave. There are days when you wonder if it's happening. There are days when you wonder if you can continue. But if you persist day after day, never quitting, something amazing occurs. By day 90, you do not simply complete the challenge. You are a different person. This is your rebirth. You will look back at the man who started this journey, and he will be a stranger. He was in doubt. He was making excuses. He was allowing his emotions to dictate his actions. He started and quit many times. But today, you are different. You are not perfect, but you are solid. You are not boisterous, but you are clear. You don't need to tell people who you are. They can sense it in your presence. By day 90, your routines are who you are. You don't struggle with yourself every morning. You no longer debate with your old self. The guy who used to seek the easy route now does the difficult things without being prompted. The guy who used to wait for the right moment now acts immediately. You're no longer motivated by fear or convenience. You're motivated by purpose. Your energy is different too. You walk into a room and people notice. You say less, but it carries more weight, carrying quiet strength. You no longer chase for approval, and you no longer seek for permission. You move by direction. You stand firm for who you are. Your body is different. It is tougher. It has been pushed by sweat and strain. It bears the scars of discipline. It moves with precision. It feels alive. You no longer shy away from the mirror. You look at it and see a man who got the job done, day by day. But more than your body, your mind has been altered. It is keener. It is calmer. It is yours. You do not believe every thought. You do not act on every feeling. You think with clarity, act with courage, and remain firm in the face of adversity. You have encountered resistance, and you did not flee. You have encountered weakness, and you did not yield. This transformation didn't occur in one giant moment. It occurred in hundreds of tiny choices. It occurred every time you rose early, trained when you were exhausted, worked when it was difficult, and remained quiet when it would have been easier to talk. It was constructed in the hours of solitude, out of the spotlight. That's how it is actual. That's how it will endure. Day 90 isn't the end. It's the start of your next level. You're no longer preparing. You're living now as the man you claimed you'd be. You don't have to give a speech. You don't have to prove anything. You take your first steps back into the world with a new flame, and all will know. This isn't a finish line. This is your comeback. Stronger, sharper, reborn. There is a reason you left. Not to hide, not to flee, but to create. While others remained boisterous, you remained quiet. While others pursued fame, you pursued restraint. You did not need to be seen. You needed to hone. You went into the darkness to become someone else. Now, it is time to come back, but not as the man you once were. You return different. Not louder, but stronger. Not the same, but unrecognizable. The world forgot about you. That was the strategy. You allowed them to. You didn't tell them where you went. You didn't attempt to justify your journey. You kept your head down and got the job done. You trained when there was no cheering. You constructed when there was no spectator. And in that solitude, you discovered something that most people never will. Your advantage. Now, when you enter a room, something's different. You don't have to say anything first. You don't have to prove anything. Your presence becomes your proof. You have power in silence. The man who used to need validation now strides with intent. You used to pursue ease. Now you embrace difficulty. You used to wait for the perfect time. Now you invent it. You didn't come back to boast. You came back to lead. You didn't come back to make a big noise. You came back to move with purpose. You're not better than others, but you're better than who you were. That you that made excuses, broke commitments, pursued shortcuts. He doesn't exist anymore. And since you laid him down, this new you can rise without bounds. Those who knew you first might not get it. They might ask themselves what happened. They might not see your silent strength. But you owe them nothing. You don't owe anyone an explanation for growth to those who made the decision to remain static. You don't have to yell. You just keep walking. Make them notice the difference. Your return is not for display. It's for purpose. You've got work to do. People to serve. Things to construct. You understand the demand of wasting time. You understand the cost of being average. You have sampled the agony of old ways, and you don't want to relapse. Something deeper motivates you now. It's not concerning what you acquire. It's concerning whom you become. This returning man is not running after something. He is cemented. He is centered. He does not glance about. He looks forward. He does not live to please others. He lives to please himself. He speaks less, hears more, and acts with power. You return with peace in your eyes and flames in your heart. You return with wounds that tell the stories of a war fought in silence. You return with cadence in your steps and order in your marrow. You don't have to proclaim your return. The world will know it. The world will sense it. And those who once disregarded you will never forget you once more. You disappeared so they'd forget you. You return so they'll never be able to ignore you. This is not the end of you. It is the beginning. Hardened, honed, unstoppable.